What's good? What's good, everybody? Mad Pit. Right back at y'all, like I said. Dang, I know that I was supposed to be on yesterday at 5 o'clock. It had to be changed of plan. I run a business. So it gotta be like that sometimes. But I'm here now. And hit that like button. If you're on Facebook, hit that link at the bottom of the screen where it says Mad Pill in the yellow. Let me make sure my Facebook people in here. Let me make sure I'm attached to Facebook. Make sure I get my Facebook. Yep, I'm on Facebook. Let me get my Facebook people up in here. If you on Facebook, go ahead and hit that link at the bottom of the screen so you can get it to YouTube. My YouTube. I'm trying to get more subscribers, more of my people that's subscribing. Oh yeah. You just spread the news. Spreading the news. Hold up. This ain't no news station. This is a lesson. Right? We don't spread no gossip on Mad Pill. This is a lesson. You learn lessons. And R. Kelly is learning a harsh lesson. Let's go. I got the video of I got the trial. Let me make sure. I got the trial video or the audio of the trial that I'm gonna play on Monday. Was from Monday. So this is the audio of the trial. Make sure. So I'm gonna play the audio of the trial. It's like maybe 30 minutes long, and y'all can see for y'allself, and y'all can hear for y'allself what's going on in this case. And y'all can hear it for y'allself. This is the trial audio I'm about to play from Monday. R. Kelly. I'm estimating R. Kelly's case to be his new trial to either get granted in this summer, or we'll find out in a couple months. We will find out in a couple of months. But I'm about to play the audio of this trial in just a minute here. Y'all can hit that like button. Y'all can share this. Share, subscribe. Keep on sharing this. If you on Facebook, share. Let me go ahead and share again. I'm about to play the audio so y'all can get a good idea. So this is my first time hearing the video. I haven't heard the audio yet. But this is gonna be my first time hearing this audio from the court. Let's go. Yep. So this is new for me hearing this with y'all. First off, before I get into this video, oops. Hey, what's good, Angela? Angela, was good? I hope all my people be in here tonight. Where all my people? Where y'all at? Is y'all gonna be up in here tonight? Yeah, all the regular Mad Pill, all my moderators. Where y'all at? That's why I'm kind of, I want all my people, all my regulars to get this. What's good, Miss Denise? Yes. Yeah, I'm early tonight, Angela. Yeah, I'm early tonight. I went live at 4 in the morning the other night. I couldn't get nobody in there but a few people, you know what I'm saying? But it was for a playback mainly. So, yep, I'm about to play this video. But first of all, before I play this video, um, this is the let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. This is the 8 ways that R. Kelly is gonna get off. 8 ways that is gonna be used. Number 1, surviving R. Kelly. I'm gonna start there. Surviving R. Kelly persuaded the jury. The whole public, when during the trial, surviving R. Kelly was presented, and that could have persuaded the jury. And R. Kelly's defense team is using that. The jury was persuaded, the verdict was persuaded by surviving R. Kelly. And that's one of the main reasons why this case is going to be dismissed. Or this case, the last case is going to be dismissed and it's going to be granted a new trial. It's a whole lot of evidence. I mean, I can't wait to hear this tape. So that right there, surviving R. Kelly could be detrimental to the defense and be golden for R. Kelly. I think this is going to be golden for R. Kelly. Surviving R. Kelly. Surviving R. Kelly is going to backfire. Number 2, charges was filed after the statutes of limitations. They're gonna defend, and as I'm gonna let Jennifer Bonjean explain. I think she's gonna be explaining everything, but number 3, um, racketeering one person. Racketeering one person. How did he get a racketeering charge? Who else get nobody else got arrested. So how did they come up with a racketeering charge? Because that's the only way they can get him on a racketeering charge. But they didn't, that was the only way they can get the years that they could get out of him. Racketeering. See, he could have got charged for anything else, but racketeering was the biggest charge. Racketeering. How could you racketeer one man? Who else got arrested? Who told? Racketeering charges, everybody's going to jail, getting arrested. You got to get arrested first. You can't just not be asking people using them as immunity. No. Racketeering charges against multiple people. Who else got arrested? That was another thing. Number 2, old bald head Tasha K. Well, that's number 4, I believe. Bald head Tasha K and the BP officer. Tasha K and the BP officer is detrimental to this case. If it would have been found that a officer that's inside gave out some information to an irrelevant person, like to the public, no matter who you give it out to, that could win. R. Kelly got so many that is going to be detrimental. He got so many ways. Number 5 is Azriel. Yeah, Azriel turned on R. Kelly, and she got caught up in some stuff. We're gonna get into that later. I'm gonna say that for later. But Azriel, I'm gonna just leave Azriel here. I got Azriel Instagram that I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show y'all. Excuse me. And that's gonna come later after this video. And what else? Yeah, that's it. It was 5. I thought I said it was 8, but I'm about to play this video for y'all. This is my first time hearing it. This is the first time I got sent this video. So I appreciate y'all send me videos as y'all watch it. If y'all got videos to send, y'all send it to Mad Peel. Well, y'all send it to Mad Ninjas or Facebook, Mad Ninjas. Go to Mad Ninja or Facebook. And you can send me videos. Without further ado, I'm playing this video.
Bonjean. All right. Ms. Bonjean, you have reserved 3 minutes for rebuttal, so that gives you 7 minutes out of the gate.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
May it please the court, my name is Jennifer Bonjean and I represent Robert Kelly. Like every RICO indictment seemingly in history, the government charged the defendant with being the—
You know what? And I want to make sure this is the right video. If this is not the right video, because I'm playing this for the first time, let me know, please, or if y'all heard this before. But if this is the right video, Shannon Lewis, shout out to Shannon Lewis. Shannon Lewis sent me this video, and this is supposed to be from Monday.
a member of an enterprise that had a common purpose of carrying out an illegal or illicit activity.
Well, I guess I'm trying to understand. Are you challenging the jury instruction, which didn't say that the RICO enterprise had to have an illegal purpose?
No, Your Honor, I'm not challenging the jury instruction, nor could the jury instruction be challenged. The jury instruction is entirely consistent with United States versus Boyle. In fact, it's almost word for word the same jury instruction. And in Boyle, as this court may recall, where the enterprise or the instruction was challenged, even though it wasn't set out with specificity what the structure of the enterprise should be, the Boyle court said that's fine. It doesn't have to be. The jury doesn't have to be instructed with that level of specificity. In this case,
but you're arguing, it seems to me, that absent an illegal purpose, there can be no RICO enterprise.
yes, because it would make nonsense of the statute. And
okay, but is it so? I guess A, what's the authority for that, and B, isn't that really a challenge to the jury instruction?
I don't believe it is. I think that.
Well, did the district court tell the jury that they had to find an illegal purpose so there could be no enterprise?
No, but the indictment did, and the indictment was
No, the indictment listed a series of purposes.
Yes, series of purposes pled in the conjunctive, and the jury instruction, which had the indictment incorporated into it, pled that there were 4 different purposes, 2 of which were legal essentially, and 2 which were illegal.
All right, but I'm asking a basic question to start, which is that if the government had just listed the legal purposes, your view is that would not be sufficient for a RICO indictment?
No, in fact, district courts routinely dismiss complaints that do not demonstrate that the purpose of the common or the enterprise is illegal in nature. In fact, neither party has been able to find a single case where the purpose of the enterprise was entirely
You're arguing that there was insufficient evidence here to prove an illegal purpose?
correct, or illicit or fraudulent, or some type of
Wasn't there substantial evidence?
No, Your Honor, I respectfully disagree. There was substantial evidence yes. There was substantial evidence, perhaps, of defendants' wrongdoing in the context for using, quote unquote, the machinery of his organization, his entourage, those types of individuals. But there was very little evidence, certainly not sufficient to meet the government's burden of proof, that any of those individuals acted with this common purpose to, quote, recruit women for Mr. Kelly for illegal sexual activity or for the production of child pornography.
So I'd like to just make sure I understand. It sounds to me as though you're making a legal argument that a RICO enterprise has to have an illegal purpose, as well as that here an illegal purpose was charged, but there was insufficient evidence of it.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. That is precisely right.
And I want to understand, in light of Turquette, why we have to find an illegal purpose as well. I mean, there's language in Satinwood, and most of the cases that have been cited and discussed are in the context of a fraudulent purpose that may have some legitimate enterprise around it. But there's room for confusion there. But Turquette seems to say quite directly that the term enterprise as used in RICO encompasses both legitimate and illegitimate enterprises. So maybe you could help me.
Yes, the issue isn't whether it was a legitimate organizational legal entity versus a non-legal entity. Turquette held, and the question before Turquette was the exact opposite, whether a RICO enterprise could be exclusively criminal, not whether it could be exclusively legal. And our position is that this was an organization that the government failed to prove had any criminal purpose. The government takes the position that for a RICO enterprise to exist, it need not be rooted in criminality at all, which would fly in the face of Turquette, frankly. Turquette looked at Congress's intent.
Didn't the government prove that one of the purposes of this enterprise was to recruit girls so that Kelly could have illegal sexual activity with them?
They pled it, they did not prove it. What they did prove is that through the course of a period of time, there were perhaps efforts to pass along information, a phone number, to invite someone backstage. There was no evidence presented that any of those individuals did so believing or knowing that someone was underage, that you go to a big concert, there are 17, 18, 19-year-olds. Even the victims themselves said, well, nobody asked me for my age. When the age came about, perhaps Mr. Kelly may have known, and that's what I think some of the women testified to, but there was no evidence that anyone went out there saying, may I find out what your age is? Are you underage? Come back. We want to serve you up to Mr. Kelly. That just didn't happen. And in fact, there is extraordinary evidence that and members of the enterprise, again, these are some of the people, I guess, that testified, repeatedly made it clear that what happened behind closed doors was not something they understood. Yes, there were rules and things they did, these anodyne tasks that were perhaps a little unusual, but not that put them on notice that what was happening behind closed doors was illegal. And we are talking about matters that happen behind closed doors. The fact that a video recorder existed in a bedroom does not ipso facto make it evidence that there is child pornography.
You're saying these other individuals didn't know that these girls were underage?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think the evidence that was presented to the jury was deficient in that regard. There was so much excessive of evidence, frankly, about Mr. Kelly's wrongdoing that it would be easy to be tempted to go down the path. Well, everybody must have known. But that is just not what was demonstrated at trial. And
well, the appearance of these girls would be evidence enough, wouldn't it?
These were not 12-year-olds. These were not 13-year-olds. There were some example. What was testified to is that some of them looked young. And having multiple teenagers myself, looking young does not mean you know someone is a minor. And the question becomes: did they have an obligation to ask? Did they have to do due diligence, do inquiry? When he said just go pick somebody up, again, just using individuals, unwitting individuals who perhaps even turned a blind eye or who didn't inquire further does not a RICO enterprise exist. And I would leave with this point that, simply speaking, I won't leave with it, but the law presumes in Turquette, which was an entirely criminal enterprise. They were speaking to the question of whether it could be a legal enterprise with a one man doing illegal acts in the context of the enterprise and using his employees. So Turquette does not, from where we stand, put this issue to rest. And what the government wants to do is simply read out of the statute organized crime. And at the end of the day, the statute...
They want to read out organized crime? What are you saying?
Yes, because the purpose of the statute, the RICO statute, is to address organized crime. Now,
It's not in the text, though, right? When you say read it out.
the definition of organized crime is not in the text of the statute. And in fact, courts have universally read organized crime very liberally, very broadly. And we're not quarreling with that. But you can't just have an organization that is not associated with any crime.
Right. Organized crime. That's the organized crime. I just want y'all to understand, if y'all here, I know this is a little lot to y'all, but I want to help y'all understand this. It's a strong argument. Was R. Kelly running an organized crime? Right. And where was the other people? Why weren't the other people brought to justice?
Simply speaking, a RICO enterprise is a criminal organization. You can define it broadly, but it's not an organization simply with a criminal. And that is what the government is asking the court to find here. I believe my time has expired.
But I mean, you're not challenging the jury instruction, so you're agreeing that everything the district court told the jury they needed to find was correct, right?
Your Honor, the jury instructions were consistent with every jury instruction ever given in a RICO case, historically. And frankly, is consistent with what the United States Supreme Court held in Boyle. I don't know how.
So the jury wasn't asked to read out portions of the statute. The jury was correctly instructed. I guess I'm trying to figure out. You're saying that the evidence didn't support the elements that were correctly instructed to the jury.
What I'm saying, Your Honor, is that the government had an obligation, and in fact, the jury was instructed that the government had to prove the theory of the enterprise. The theory of the enterprise included criminal conduct that was pled in the conjunctive. And if it had been just simply legal activity pled in that indictment, it would have been dismissed. Because routinely, again, and we've cited numerous cases, as does the government, district courts simply do not allow RICO prosecutions or RICO suits to move forward where you don't have an actual fraud or illegal or illicit activity that is the moving force or that is the common purpose. This would be outside the realm of, again, contrary to the purpose.
Back on the issue of whether the staff knew the
She used this strategy with Bill Cosby.
age. Sometimes the staff booked the travel arrangements for them, and therefore they had to have identification documents. Isn't that evidence that they knew they were underage?
I think if you look closely at the record, you will see that the government was very clever, frankly, of conflating these issues where I do not believe there was any evidence that the employee booked travel for someone who was in fact under the age of consent. So you have to remember, in Illinois, the age of consent is 17. It only becomes a federal crime if it's being videotaped. Now, do these people know what's happening in the bedroom? No, there is no evidence that someone.
So, the age of consent in Illinois is 17. So, how is R. Kelly being convicted of? Even if he had slept with 17-year-olds, right? That's another one.
Evidence that the staff made sure that in his backpack he had his iPad and recording equipment. The evidence doesn't show that.
It shows that people picked up his luggage. I mean, people pick up my luggage, I pick up other people's luggage. Am I responsible for what's in that luggage? It just takes this to the point of absurdity. We can't say an enterprise exists because unwitting employees are engaging in normal tasks that they do, particularly for high-profile people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Bensing?
May it please the court, Assistant United States Attorney Kayla Bensing on behalf of the government. Good morning, Your Honors.
Well, so when you speak to the Court of Appeals, you're speaking to multiple judges, and they be on their stuff for real.
I want to start with the defendant's challenge to his RICO conviction and what constitutes an enterprise. As the district court stated at the sentencing in this case, the defendant had a system in place that lured young people into his orbit and then he took over their lives. And so I want to start with this claim that was made in the reply brief and is made today before the court, that the enterprise members or that the defendant used his inner circle to simply carry out anodyne activities. Demetrius Smith, the defendant's...
What evidence is there in the record that the staff who arranged these things knew that they were underage?
Yes, Your Honor. So in September of 1994, I'll start there with the victim, Addie, who testified. She testified that she was 17. She was invited by Kelly's bouncers to come backstage at a concert in Miami. That was 3 days after Kelly's marriage to Aaliyah.
This is the defense. So remember, the age of consent is 17.
In which he bribed a county official in order to hide or alleviate the consequences of illegal sexual activity. And obviously members of his enterprise arranged for that bribery, and so we're well aware of that illegal sexual activity. A few years later, in 1998, Stephanie, who was the victim named in Racketeering Act 2, was approached at a McDonald's by a member of Kelly's entourage. He asked how old she was. She told him that she was 16. Kelly's associate then gave her Kelly's phone number and said Kelly wanted her to call him. This is the same girl who at 17 was instructed by Kelly to give him oral sex in the backseat of a car and to be vocal and make noise while doing so that Kelly's driver and another individual who were present in the car could hear, which was a obviously deeply humiliating experience for her. Turning next to Nicholas Williams, he was one of the defendant's runners beginning in 2003. He answered phones and escorted Kelly's girlfriends inside of Kelly's studios, and he testified that Kelly's female guests were very young, keeping in mind that he was 19 at the time. He also testified that he could hear sexual activity and yelling between the defendant and his female guests. The jury is entitled to infer from that Kelly's employees helped maintain and facilitate Kelly's contact, including sexual contact, with these underage women. I want to also turn to Anthony Navarro's testimony. He was another one of the runners employed by Kelly. Navarro, who started working for Kelly in 2007, specifically identified that he would help answer phones for Kelly's girlfriends. That was his word, and there was some claim in the reply brief that these were just female guests, but he testified using the word girlfriends. And he identified them as looking very young, specifically mid-aged teenagers. And the jury heard testimony from Geronda about how she recognized Navarro as one of Kelly's runners who she interacted with when she was 16 years old being sexually abused by Kelly. In addition, there's Cheryl Mack. She was Kelly's assistant beginning in approximately 2013. She repeatedly saw Kelly with 17-year-old Jane. She had booked travel for Jane as early as April 2015, so she knew Jane's age. And a couple months later, in July of 2015, she testified that she observed Jane going to perform oral sex on Kelly. There's also Suzette Mayweather's testimony. She learned that Jane was 17 years old in the fall of 2015. She knew that Jane was one of Kelly's girlfriends. She observed her following all of the same rules as Kelly's other girlfriends. There's also testimony from Jane about Juice, who was another one of the defendant's girlfriends, but who Jane testified acted as one of the defendant's assistants. Juice helped teach Jane rules, and Juice also knew Jane's age. I believe that's in the special, I believe that's SA 527. So this is all evidence that the jury was entitled to infer that Kelly's inner circle knew what was going on, that he was recruiting and maintaining underage women for sexual activity.
Does the, I guess the allegation that Kelly was also inducing these folks to come in violation of state law because he was infected, is there evidence that his entourage or the folks in the enterprise knew about Kelly's status as infected with herpes?
Yes, there is. There's testimony that his assistants picked up his Walgreens records. Anthony Navarro, who was one of the runners, testified that he would pick up Valtrex for Kelly. That's at A467 to 68. Diana Copeland accompanied Anna, who was one of the testifying victims.
I mean, so one of those girls burnt Kelly. I mean, so I mean, herpes, whatever he caught for one of them little girls, little groupies. I mean, that ain't got nothing to do with really the. Okay, can you prove, like, did he slept with underage girls? That don't got nothing to do with him having herpes or nothing like that. Like this, see, they throw every little thing to make him look bad. So if he look like the devil, they want to make R. Kelly look bad. This is the defense against R. Kelly. So he can be convicted. That's another thing.
At the trial to the hospital for her STD test, and only Diana Copeland received the results of that test, not Anna. Juice, again, who Jane testified was like an assistant to Kelly, took
Was
Jane.
there evidence that the staff knew that Kelly wasn't disclosing his condition?
Well, a number of the women, in fact, obtained, got an STD. They were not just exposed to it, but they in fact got an STD.
That doesn't go to the consent question. I mean, if they consented, then it wouldn't be a violation of state law, right? If the girls had consented, knowing that he had herpes, that would not violate state law?
Well, the state law, I believe the state law, the violation is specifically exposing somebody to an STD. The jury was instructed that R. Kelly did not also give consent in those, that they did not give consent in those circumstances. So that was part of the jury instructions.
My question is, was there evidence that the staff knew that there was lack of consent?
Well, I don't think that there was direct testimony on that, but I do think that a jury, drawing all inferences in the government's favor, was entitled to infer that from the evidence that did exist. And again, just to complete the record on that, about the testimony by Jane about Juice, that Juice took Jane to see a doctor in downtown Chicago, and she was prescribed medication for her herpes infection. I also, though, want to talk about another illegal sexual activity for which there is tons of enterprise evidence that that Kelly has not really raised on appeal at all, and that is forced labor. That the defendant obtained labor and services here, sex acts, through threats of serious harm or physical restraint against the victims, and the evidence is.
Let me hold you. How could you lose forced labor when it comes to the industry? Labor is force beyond the 9 to 5. So they use that forced labor in the R. Kelly trial, which again put a you know, painting him as the devil. Like they want to use him having herpes or whatever disease he had to pin him as being sinister, which had nothing to do with him sleeping with underage girls. So that's another flaw on the defense. Like, and he questioning her too. Like, what does that have anything to do with underage, him sleeping with underage girls? Like, is this the age of consent? See, in Illinois, the age of consent is 17 years old. So this is consent. If they consented at 17 years old, then it was legal by the law. It is legal by the law. The age of consent in Illinois is 17 years old. So they convicted R. Kelly by making it look like he was slaving young girls. They made it look like, you know, okay, the STDs, and they made him look bad. That's how they convicted R. Kelly. So if the age of consent is 17 years old, think about that, y'all. That's what they got him on under. The age of consent. You can't, if you have to consent, he was, you know, the girls was 17, all of the girls, but they had to get him and to make him look sinister and make the girls look like slaves. So they didn't consent. They was forced to do that. And this is what I want to help y'all understand. That it wasn't about R. Kelly sleeping with underage girls. It's about the underage girls giving him consent to sleep with them. That's what it's about. They have to get the consent to sleep with him, and it was consent. So they slandered him, made him look wrong. They had to have multiple girls to come up with the same story. That's what was surviving R. Kelly. To make it look like that they wasn't consenting. Like they was made to be sex slaves and, you know, be tied in a room for days. If you tied in a room for days, of course, that's not consent. That's slavery. Like so they made R. Kelly look like that. See, the defense against R. Kelly made R. Kelly look like a slave master. They made R. Kelly look like a slave master because that's the only way they could convict him. Because the age of consent in Illinois, 17. So they had to make R. Kelly look like a monster. Let me share this again. Y'all hit that like button. Y'all hit that share button. We get into the nitty gritty. Hit the like, hit the share button as much as you can. They want to make R. Kelly look like a monster. That's how they convicted him. That was the defense strategy, was to make R. Kelly look like a monster. That was the only way they got him.
Replete with examples of how tightly tied the forced labor charges and the predicate acts were to the enterprise.
So I'm a little concerned about applying the forced labor statute in this context, because it seems that you run the risk of really sexualizing or federalizing all kinds of state sexual assault and being able to turn it into federal offenses with much different consequences for the individuals. Can you address that concern?
Yes, of course. And I would just return the court to the plain language of 18 USC section 1589A, which prohibits whoever knowingly provides or obtains the labor or services of a person by any number of combination of the then subsections of that, which includes a scheme, plan, or pattern intended to cause the person to believe that if the person did not perform that labor or services, the person or person would suffer serious harm or physical restraint.
So wouldn't that apply to any kind of rape prosecution?
So I don't think the court has to reach the outer boundaries of what the statute may or may not apply to in this case, because there was a clear pattern that was far beyond something like a one-time rape. So for the specific victims,
In some cases, we are talking about just one or two instances, right?
Well, I don't think so. So as to Geronda, what was charged was a specific instance as to the forced labor. But of course, there was an entirety of the
Forced labor. See, the defense always keeping up forced labor. That's what they use in the trial. Forced labor. To make him look like a monster. Okay, yeah, you got herpes and you're forcing, like R. Kelly, yes, you're gonna have forced labor in the industry. You gotta stay up 24 hours a day. The industry don't sleep for weeks, even as Beyonce, as the top moguls in the industry, they don't sleep. So they using that against R. Kelly. There's something that's natural. You don't sleep with R. Kelly. You don't sleep with R. Kelly. He is the king of R&B who never sleeps. He demands the best and the highest quality of music. So they using that against R. Kelly.
pattern that led up to that specific incident where he choked her, he spit on her, and then he made her perform oral sex on him. What led up to that was a whole series of Kelly enforcing his rules, teaching her the rules, enforcing the rules, and then punishing her.
So you think we should focus on the actions that constituted the force as opposed to the labor that was forced?
Well, I think as to labor and service under this court's definitions of those recently in Raniere and recently in Marcus, sexual activity, I think, clearly falls within the definition of the expenditure of physical or mental effort, especially when fatiguing, difficult, or compulsory. The performance of work commanded or paid for by another. And of course, in the context of prostitution, I think that the court would have no issue finding that that constitutes forced labor. And here, this is no different. A sex act is a sex act.
What about a single one? What about a single rape?
Well, again, I don't think that the court has to reach the question of the sort of the outer boundaries of that question about a single rape. I guess what I would say is,
Yes, questions. I mean, dang. Come on. You know he's a superstar. And you talking about forced labor. Like I said, and I'm going to say it again. They stay up 24 artists in music, the top of the world. They stay up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They do not sleep.
is here the conduct has met the elements of forced labor, and I think even the district court noted in its opinion that this was the kind of case where the defendant had a pattern in place of making these women feel isolated and ashamed, and he used the enterprise to make them feel like they were confined and that they had no way out. There was an expert who testified at trial as well about the defendant's use of these isolation.
Right, but the issue is the labor component, it seems to me. So what does the isolation have to do with labor? It might all be true, but where is their labor?
Well, I am just pointing the court to the other portion of Section 1589, addressing the court's question as to whether a single rape could constitute forced labor. I think here, sexual activity can constitute labor or services.
Right, we know that. Raniere says that. What about the facts here? This is very different than Raniere, right?
Well, I think in many ways it is similar. For example, the women were forced to give over collateral. Geronda, who was one of the victims of the forced labor charge, testified about how she had to write false letters. Faith also was forced to send a text message.
But is that the labor of some?
No, hold on. Before he rip out the shreds, okay? She was forced to to write false text messages. I mean, oh my God. Are you seriously? Is that labor? Really? We talking about picking cotton. That's labor. We talking about rolling stones into breaking bricks with a hammer. Working 16 hours a day. We talking about that type of labor. You talking about Texas? Oh, good.
Writing false letters is the labor?
No, the labor.
I mean, Raniere, these folks were doing other things. They were doing things for free, right? That would be easily described as labor. Some of it sexual, some of it not.
Well, again, I think that people pay money for work on websites. People pay money for transcribing tapes and reviewing articles, and people pay money for sex. So I think under the definition that this court has given in Raniere.
So I think that's where we're back again. You keep saying we don't need to go to the outer boundary, but it seems to me your argument is any sex acts, including a rape, is forced labor.
I believe that sexual activity does count under this court's definition of labor and service. And again, I would just note that, of course, the other provisions of the forced labor statute.
Any sexual act is counted as forced labor. Did you hear that? Any sexual, this is what they won in the first case. They won that. Any sexual act is counted as forced labor. I don't care if they consented or not. If they wanted to have sex with R. Kelly, how many times they can have sex with R. Kelly is considered as forced labor if they consented to it or not. This is the ridiculous stuff that they use against R. Kelly.
It would also have to be met, and that may be where there's a limiting principle in terms of whether a single rape would constitute forced labor, because the whole other part of the statute would have to be met, which includes, as relevant to this case.
See, hold on. They are considering that the sinister of R. Kelly. They made R. Kelly look bad, with the herpes or whatever, the STDs. They want to make him look bad with the forced labor. He made people work 24 hours a day. So he's a mutant. He's the king of R&B. He's the king. He's the man, the best. They used that against him. In the forced labor, right? That's another what got R. Kelly put under the jail and what he put in right now. He under the jail because of that. It's because of labor and consent. See, what's in the previous trial, consent. When you persuaded jury that they were slaves, when you do that, even though they wanted to have sexual relations with R. Kelly, even though they consented to having sexual relations with R. Kelly, the consent goes out the window if they was like slaves, what they painted R. Kelly to be. And this is detrimental. This is what detrimental of the case, and that's what got R. Kelly convicted.
The use of the means of any scheme, plan, or pattern intended to cause the person to believe that if they didn't perform the labor and services, that person or another person would suffer serious harm or physical restraint. And so that brings me back, I think, to sort of my initial point, which is, and I see that I'm over my time, so I can continue to address sort of the record evidence.
Please go ahead. There are a lot of issues here, so we may want to get to some others too.
Okay, so just very briefly, I think the record is replete with evidence that the enterprise was tightly tied to the facilitation of the forced labor predicate acts in this case. Members of the inner circle heard Kelly beating his girlfriends. They knew that Kelly was isolating his victims, and they helped him do it, including by enforcing his punishments, such as watching over them while they were confined to a bus for prolonged periods of time. There's testimony about that from the Mayweather sisters, from Diana Copeland, and employees were punished when they didn't comply. There were financial sanctions when they, for example, Copeland testified that she let Anna escape. And so I have numerous other examples of that, but if the court has questions about any of the other
I'd like to ask about restitution.
Yes.
And about it seemed to me that the record was weak, that Kelly infected Jane and the second young woman with herpes in states where
The question is, did they infect him with herpes? See, it's a lot of them little hoes that's lying. There's some lying little hoes. Them hoes was getting around. They wasn't just smashing R. Kelly. Them hoes, how do you think R. Kelly got herpes? Or whatever he had? I mean, come on now. Them little hoes was hot. And I ain't putting it past that the R. Kelly had herpes. I mean, come on now. It got to the back. It ain't about that. It ain't about R. Kelly was burning. Them little hoes that he was smashing was burning them. And that's the thing about it. They was hopping around all the internet. They didn't hop around Jay-Z. They didn't hop around Dame Dash. They didn't hop around Busta Rhymes. They didn't hop around DMX. They didn't hop around Kanye West. They didn't hop around and hopped around and hopped around. They didn't smash everybody in the industry, and everybody said, y'all wouldn't even be surprised who got herpes. Jay-Z Barbie got herpes right now. Y'all don't even know that. The industry is nasty. And they wanted R. Kelly. If they look, if R. Kelly had herpes, he the king of R&B. Guess who other Trey Songz and Usher got herpes? Yeah. The same chick who burnt R. Kelly was the same chick who burnt Usher. Yeah. Oh man. They got the same herpes, the herpes strain. You know, the herpes strain is like the it's like COVID, the COVID strain. It's a certain strain of herpes that's going around in the industry. They're only the top celebrities to get. I mean, yeah, but that don't mean anything. So that's going around the industry anyway. Those little girls is hot. They was hot back then, and their parents was playing along with the game. You know, there's a meal ticket like the football players, like your sons, your daughters, the ones who you back then. I'm gonna cut into this real quick. Back then, your daughters, right? I'm talking about to the thirsty parents who could sing real good. They sold them off by any means. And it was sexy and attractive. They sold them off. No matter what, back in the 90s, yeah, they did it. And you know what? It's a parent's consent. Because let me tell you what the other thing with R. Kelly got in his defense. The parents consented to R. Kelly even being associated with this young lady. The parents already consented. Already. The parents consented.
The exposure was illegal. And I wondered if what the government's position is on that. If Kelly gained herpes in the state where the exposure was legal, someplace other than New York or California, do you agree that she would not be entitled to restitution?
Well, I think the record here establishes that the first time that Jane had sex with Kelly, so her first exposure to the STD was when she was in California, and that was the basis for that particular racketeering act, and for the charge as well. And so that was the first time that she was exposed. She subsequently, later that summer, tested positive for having herpes. And so I think that the record has demonstrated that the crime was exposing her to herpes, and there's direct causation that she then later contracted herpes. And just to close the gap, she also testified that she had not been with any other sexual partners at that time. Yeah. So I think.
Let me tell you that. Let me tell you, I wasn't even done yet. Them little hoes was hot. Them little hoes was hot. They was freaking hot. Like I said, they gave R. Kelly herpes. And they want to try to make it like, oh, they was innocent, they was young and all this. No, they gave her R. Kelly herpes. R. Kelly was in the studio. R. Kelly ain't out here smashing all these chicks. These chicks is coming to him. He in the studio. He the king of R&B. He trapped in the studio. No. R. Kelly got burned in. Like I said, these little hoes was smashing everybody in the industry. And R. Kelly got the same herpes strain that Usher got.
Here we do have direct and proximate causation, and of course, the district court had the facts to make that determination. And as to Stephanie, so she had filed, I believe she filed a letter with the district court indicating that the defendant had exposed her with herpes, and that was part of the sentencing record. But in addition, the government had referenced a report of investigation, an interview that she had given to HSI agents that during the time that she was with Kelly, he never wore a condom.
Yeah, let me go back. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes.
Yes.
But wasn't by the time that Kelly met Jane, wasn't he on Valtrex by then?
So the testimony was that, first of all, herpes can be transmitted even while you are taking Valtrex. That was part of the expert's testimony in this case. And there was also testimony that his use of Valtrex was very inconsistent. So there's testimony from his doctor that the doctor would prescribe 11 months of Valtrex, and then 4 months later, he'd have to be prescribing more Valtrex.
See, hold on, y'all. Hold up. Now, do not let this picture of R. Kelly got herpes. Right? Just accept R. Kelly got herpes. R. Kelly got herpes. Dude, this is what the defense is. This ain't got nothing to do with the case. So like I said, them little hoes was burning R. Kelly. They the one that gave him herpes.
So I think there's testimony from which the district court could conclude that he was not taking Valtrex as it was prescribed, which simply increases even more the risk that he could transmit herpes to
And this is
Jane.
applying a preponderance standard.
Exactly, of course, Your Honor.
Okay. So if you could address Stephanie now.
Yes, thank you so much. So in this report of investigation from HSI, which the government referenced in its letter seeking restitution for Stephanie, we represented that the only person that she was with was Kelly at that time, and that was in 1999.
How do you know that? So you going by, that's another thing. They just going by what the witnesses has said. I was just with one man. I was just with R. Kelly. He's the only one that gave me that. No, man, you was sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry because you was a hoe. You was a groupie. That's what you do. See, I'm gonna be the first one to say this. A lot of them little girls back then was hoes. They was sleeping with everybody. Jay-Z done got it. Busta Rhymes done got it. Master P and the Low Limit Soldiers done got it. Lil Wayne done got it. Birdman done got it. All of them done got it. All of them was sleeping with the same girl. Same girl. Yeah. That's how R. Kelly came up with that song. Same girl. Same girl. Yeah. They were sleeping with the same girl. And they all got the same herpes. All of them got the same herpes. And no matter what. Hold up. Oh, okay. I got it. And no matter what, the herpes strain, and R. Kelly and Jay-Z and all them other Usher. oh, wee, Jesus Christ. Oh.
Of course, in 2000, Kelly did have a negative culture for herpes, but there was testimony from both his doctor and the expert witness in this case that it is actually quite frequent that you might get a negative culture even when you have herpes because the timing of that test.
And there was evidence that she was having sexual relations with no one else.
Correct. That was part.
No, how is that evidence that you ain't having sexual relations with somebody else? See, who I have to go. How can you know that somebody ain't having sexual? How is that evident? That's a damn lie. That's a goddamn lie. Y'all gonna make me start back cussing. How the hell do you know that somebody ain't having sexual relationships with somebody? How do you know that? You do not know. How did R. Kelly know? How did they know that it was R. Kelly was the one that gave those girls STDs? They don't know. So they putting it all on R. Kelly. Them hoes was running rampant. Like I said, them little hoes, they was running rampant. They was thirsty. They was real thirsty. Them some little ass sluts, and their parents were selling them. How the hell you don't know that? How the hell could you pin it on R. Kelly that he was the one that gave all them girls herpes? How do you know that she was the only one that R. Kelly had? I'm fucking mad at this shit. Let me take a drink. How do you know that R. Kelly was the only one that slept with her? How the fuck do you know? How do you know that? This is preposterous right here. And they're using this in court. There was no way that you could know that R. Kelly is giving out STDs. That's not known. Like I said, these hoes is hot. How did Usher get burned? They all get burnt by the same women. They all sleep with the same women in the industry. All the groupies, the superheads, and all that. They be burning dudes, man.
Part of the report of investigation that the district court had before it. There was a specific 3500 piece that was referenced. Thank you.
Can I ask you, I guess, to come back to what I think is a legal point? Do you agree with Ms. Bonjean that there has to be an illegal purpose in order to establish an enterprise, which is really the first element of the RICO claim?
No, I think as we have made very clear in our brief, that is nowhere in the text of the statute, that is nowhere in the Supreme Court's precedent, and in fact there is precedent in this circuit that does not require any sort of illegal common purpose, and specifically the court's opinion in Daddario, but also a recent summary order in this circuit in the Ranieri case. In that case, there was a completely legal common purpose that was alleged. And
so hold on, let me stop right there. So you saying that there doesn't have to be an illegal. So why do you prosecute something that is illegal, that's not illegal? You see, this is what Jennifer Bonjean is saying. It has to be illegal. So How could you prosecute something that's not illegal? The hell is you saying?
This court found that that was completely sufficient.
Right, and then I guess the next question is that I think Ms. Bongene's argument is that when you've decided to charge an enterprise with a list or a series of purposes, her view is you have to prove them all beyond a reasonable doubt, or you haven't proved the enterprise in question.
Well, the jury instructions, in fact, stated that the government is not required to prove each and every allegation.
That's the first half of the tape. And this court hearing is long. So that's the conclusion. I ain't gonna give it all to y'all tonight. Right? We gotta keep going. If y'all wanna hear more, hit that like button, hit that share button. We're gonna get into the next video to the full tomorrow night. So y'all join me tomorrow night for the conclusion. We ain't done yet. We ain't over with yet. Like, see, this is what is going to get R. Kelly free. R. Kelly is going to get free by was it a illegal enterprise? How? The age of consent is 17. So they used him being a monster, and surviving R. Kelly to persuade the jury. And it was in the public. It was a lot of illegal activity that has never in the history of the United States Supreme Court had convicted nobody in this social media era. R. Kelly has been convicted in the social media era, which meant that he was not granted a fair trial. Because if this was back in the old days, they couldn't do nothing to R. Kelly back in the 90s, in the 2000s, right? Because had to be a fair trial. But if the jury and the public is persuaded by the social media platform, which surviving R. Kelly made him look guilty, yeah, it's tainted. So in that case, he ain't got a fair trial. Social media didn't give R. Kelly a fair trial. So he is, if this trial has went on in the 90s, R. Kelly would be free right now. He would be free. All of these charges has went in the 90s, even in the early 2000s. R. Kelly would be free because the public opinion persuaded this case. And this is why R. Kelly is doing over 30. And this is where the statute of limitations come from. Jennifer Bongene pointed out the statute of limitation. Let's go there. The statute of limitation. And this is a social media era because it should be limited. Social media should not have any impact on the case because you have so much public opinion. And this is where surviving R. Kelly slipped up at. And this is how R. Kelly is going to get a new trial because guess what? Bill Cosby, in that case of Bill Cosby, study that case, y'all. Study the case in Bill Cosby. What Jennifer Bongene did in the Bill Cosby case is going to be the same thing because the New Age movement in a social media platform convicted R. Kelly for what he did 30 years ago. You see, it was all of the public without any evidence. There was no evidence No evidence. And this is what Jennifer Bonjean was pointing out in the beginning. If she was as smart as me, R. Kelly would have been out of jail. For real. If I was heading R. Kelly case, R. Kelly would have been out of jail. Because this don't make no sense. R. Kelly would have been in jail in the first place. Social media the new age social media persuaded this case. Therefore, he didn't get a fair trial, just like Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby did not get a fair trial at all. The case was persuaded by social media because he had old women who, with no evidence, just said what they said to convict him without no evidence, not without even forensic evidence. See, forensic evidence was a blessing because, DNA came about forensic evidence. Now it goes beyond forensic evidence. It goes social media evidence. And the court of public opinion has everything to do with the case. It's about a vote. If the public votes that the person is guilty by social, that's what happened with R. Kelly. That's what it is. And that's all they need. And this is what the courts is using. They're using the public to vote on who's guilty and who is not. And that's not fair. And that wasn't fair in this case when it comes to R. Kelly. When it comes to R. Kelly, he was convicted off the public. He can't. This was the right time to convict R. Kelly because you can make him look guilty. You can make him guilty. All these podcasters, all these vloggers, yes. Y'all don't think the jury was looking at podcasters? Did they, for real, they weren't looking at all these YouTube videos. They wasn't looking into that. If they wasn't looking into surviving R. Kelly, y'all think that they wasn't looking into, man. They were looking in, the jury was persuaded. They already made their decision. So R. Kelly should be free. He should be free by this summer. I predicted that he would. It take one of those judges. The judges, what I heard up in here, we're gonna get into the second part. Y'all hit that like, share, subscribe, hit those notifications. That they be persuaded in the next few months to give this case a new trial because, as y'all seen, they painted R. Kelly as the bad guy. See, this is what they used against R. Kelly. They had to use him as the bad guy. He had to be the bad guy. He had to have herpes. Herpes ain't got nothing to do with anything. And this is the thing about it. Him having herpes was a weapon. So they can do what they want to do with that story of him having had herpes. They can do what they want to do, and they did. That's how they won the case. That's how they got him 30 years on a RICO charge because guess what? That herpes can trace back from woman to woman to woman. So if all these women's tests proven that they had herpes by R. Kelly, they can tie him to a criminal organization, to a false criminal organization, which could be from one hoe burning R. Kelly, and he's sleeping with all his women because R. Kelly was not no faithful man. He let them all know that he had multiple girlfriends. He was being truthful. So he and I ain't heard of Azrael or Jocelyn having herpes. If you did, hit that comment. If you did, I don't know if they did, but those his two main girlfriends. And this is the monster they had to paint. They had to paint a monster. And that's how they had to convict R. Kelly. They had to paint a monster. The Only Queen was good. The Only Queen was good, honey. They had to paint a monster. R. Kelly had to be a monster for them to convict him. He had to be a monster. Other than that, they couldn't get the conviction that they got 30 years. You couldn't get 30 years off of simple having sex with a minor, right? They only carry with consent. So they had to get the girl, the multiple victims to come in, so they can paint him out to be a slave master. So they didn't give consent. Simple sleeping with underage girls with consent from 17 years old don't carry that much sentence. They wanted to give R. Kelly all those years. So they had to create that shit. They had to create that he was a monster. They had to create that R. Kelly was a monster to get him convicted. And if you analyze cases, like, and y'all have, I'm gonna hit that like and share button. I got the second half of that case. But you can see the Only Queen, you can see they had to paint him like a monster so he could be convicted. Because that was the only way they can convict them. They didn't. They couldn't get them. And this is all the years they wanted him to get. Right? They just didn't want him to get a few years. That's why they injected in racketeering. Right? They injected, underage girls. And I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna show y'all something. Something. Azrael. Now, Azrael has some new posts. We're gonna get into them posts. Now, I remember Azrael, your mama didn't hit me up. Now, I swear to God, Azrael, when we was doing me and my brother Mad Pill, y'all know Mad Pill. We roasted in the beginning of the trial. We covered this trial since the beginning. We got an inbox from Azrael's parents. Oh my God. Daniels that I got a inbox from your mama, Azrael. I got an inbox from Azrael's mama. Oh. Azrael hate me. You know, the whole family hate us. They hate Mad Pill. Because we've been clowning and we don't fall for no stupidity. No, we expose them. You know, Azrael. Azrael is, she seemed to be doing pretty well. This is the snitch on R. Kelly. The snitch on R. Kelly. You know, the turn. You know, she turned on R. Kelly. This is why I don't respect her, because she turned on a man who really loved her for clout and for well-being, you know, for her own thing, because you don't see Jocelyn Savage out doing the same things. Jocelyn Savage is, so Azrael is, she got followers. She got all, Jocelyn Savage is not even on social media. Look up Jocelyn Savage. You ain't heard from her in years. Watch this. Azrael, the one who gave away. She gave that man away. She gave R. Kelly away for her own. Let's look into her a little bit. Let's look into her a little bit. And you know what? You're gonna be the reason that R. Kelly is gonna be free. That's a little Bucky Naked. Bucky Naked. That's just Jocelyn. That's no, I'm sorry. That's Azrael. Azrael. You know. Off the cloud of R. Kelly. R. Kelly made her. He made her. If it wasn't for R. Kelly, Azrael would not exist. Period. He made her career. Hold on. Just Azrael Instagram. He made her. He made who she is. Nobody, y'all don't even give a dang about Azrael right now. Y'all only know her because I'm bringing her up. Like, y'all even seen this video before, ever. And she got some new teeth in her mouth. So Azrael, that's why she got some new teeth in her mouth. Hold on, am I her mama finally took her to the dentist and pulled them fangs out. And she happy. And how old is Azrael? I don't even know how old she is. But she got a whole nother makeover. She got a boobs did. She got her hips did. She got a butt did. She got her thighs did. She got her hands did. She got her nails did. She got her nose did. She got her forehead did. She got her edges did. She got everything did. I mean, you can tell she got a body job, you know, off the expense of R. Kelly. If this one for R. Kelly, she won't be at where she at right now. she would not be where the hell she is right now. Like, look at it. Look at the you can tell a made up body. Like Jocelyn Savage, I can't find her nowhere. Look up Jocelyn Savage. Like this is for clout right here. Yeah, this is her teeth, her getting them teeth did. Like her them veneers did. Like yeah, you know what I'm saying? R. Kelly, that's all R. Kelly. R. Kelly did that. She getting her teeth buffed. Look at her. Look them boobies did. Look them boobies. Look at those butts. They busting, ain't they? You know, they all off R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? You can't thank nobody but R. Kelly for this. R. Kelly then, you know, this R. Kelly. R. Kelly. She got an old pose of R. Kelly. See, R. Kelly had this same pose. Like the same jogging suit on. This chick can't even. I mean, come on now. You stealing R. Kelly stuff. Like for real. All R. Kelly. Like, she gotta fake everything. Like, this is why I don't respect these industries. This is what got R. Kelly burned. This is what gave R. Kelly herpes. And guess what? She gave R. Kelly herpes. Let me tell you that. I'm sorry. Azrael gave R. Kelly herpes. R. Kelly burning because of this. You know what I mean? Burning. Because these hoes they just want any and everything. Azrael done burnt R. Kelly. Look at that. That's I smell burning. You think that these chicks ain't opportunists and just getting all over the industry? They young, getting their bodies done right now. Of course, she's smashing everybody. You think Azrael ain't smashing main hitters right now? Do y'all think that Azrael ain't smashing main hitters right now? Y'all think that she ain't smashing the Jay-Z's right now? On the low? I mean, come on now. Azrael is smashing half the industry right now. She is all over everywhere. She is giving ninjas herpes. And you can't tell me they're not, because in the industry, everybody is smashing the same people. Look at that. She's still getting promises the same. Look, she's trying to look like Aaliyah in this video. I mean, come on now. See, that's all I'm saying. She tried her best to be Aaliyah. She can't be Aaliyah. She cannot be Aaliyah because she was jealous of Aaliyah because R. Kelly had Aaliyah. Now, see, this is the jealousy. To try to look like Aaliyah. To steal R. Kelly's image from him. She a freaking troll. I mean, come on, man. Somebody squaring that square head chick. Of course, she got to get her body did because R. Kelly did her favor. She a cute girl, but god dang, she got to get her body did to be top notch. I mean, come on now. She's an average looking chick. R. Kelly believed too much. He believed in he done got her body did. He done made her top notch. He done made her the desirable. He didn't make Dame Dash hit it. Dame Dash didn't hit that. I bet 5 racks right now to anybody. Dame Dash didn't hit that. He didn't hit Azrael. I bet you Dame Dash didn't hit Azrael right now. I bet y'all. Who else was a part of the crew? Comment on who y'all think didn't hit Azrael. Because I think everybody, I think Jay-Z didn't hit that shit. And I think Jay-Z didn't smash Azrael. I think, look, I think Busta Rhymes didn't hit that shit. Excuse my language. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry. I know the whole industry didn't hit it before. Especially right now, please. Man, them dudes is passing Azrael around. They passing Azrael's around. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Look at that. She got stupid dudes just in her inbox. You can't even see one in the back of that. That's probably some famous dude right there. You know, she ain't got no scrubs. She don't want nobody less than R. Kelly. No, because you got high standards. How you get with R. Kelly? You got high standards. You ain't getting with just on any old jack out there, just old jack ball out there. You mess with R. Kelly, no, especially in this picture, and she got you in the picture. No. A dude done paid high quality for that coat she got on. That trick back when in the back of the trick, that trick dude, you know, or whatever he is, you know, promoter, whatever, man, he paid a lot of money. See, Azrael is just living her best life. The best life with them fake boobs, man. Look at the what's her name behind her. Look at what house that she's in. Like she is in she in Dubai somewhere. Some trick then got her in Dubai. Like living the best life on the beach. Some trick then got her ass in Dubai living the best life on the beach because she didn't mess with R. Kelly before. I mean, that's some sick dude's fetish. You know, you mess with R. Kelly, I'm gonna fly you out, baby. Do the same thing to you. You know, all right. She's in somebody else's house, the same way was in R. Kelly's house. That ain't her house. She ain't got that type of bread. She ain't got that type of money. She is in somebody else's house. Just the same way she was in R. Kelly's house, using him with her fake boobs. You know what I'm saying? The chick got a fake body. Let's go back to Azrael. Just look at it. Just look at it. Banging, ain't it? See? Azrael. She wouldn't be anything without R. Kelly. Look at her. Her titties done popped out, man. God damn. See? The perverts out there that like the stuff. But anyway, I mean, she's for the streets. Azrael is for the streets. She been for the streets. She been for the streets, and this ain't just happened. Azrael has been for the streets. And she always been for the streets. Even when she was 17, 18 years old, she was a little hoe. I know little hoes back in the day when I was 17, 18 years old. I know little hoes. Passing them little hoes around. And it's like their parents didn't give a damn. And they had parents. But they weren't paying attention. They was little hoes. And that's Azrael's a little hoe. Look at that little hoe, man. She man, always look once little hoes, always little hoes. And they ain't no coincidence. All the little hoes always be hoes when they get older. That's why I know. Oh, oh, holy snaps. And you know, this whole just opportunities is willing to try everything, you know. And this is the thing about it. She invested in her body. She invested in, you know, now she's trying wigs on. Look at it. Just look at it. Sexual. You see, all her things is based off sex. It's always showing titties. It's always showing booty. It's always. That's always what she was. And this is the thing what the jury refused to see. Behind this thing was, yeah, these chicks was hoes. Every single girl that R. Kelly have dealt with was hoes. They were all hoes. When they was young, they was hoes. Every single chick that R. Kelly dealt with was hoes. And then every single sin that they brought to R. Kelly, they blamed R. Kelly. They had herpes. They were smashing all the dudes in the industry. And they bought R. Kelly herpes. And then guess what? R. Kelly was open with his thing. He wasn't with no one woman. He was with multiple women. Look, because he had multiple girlfriends. So they put it on him. It's him being a sexual predator when they was a sexual predator. Look at this. She's a freaking sexual predator. You know, she's dressing like this. And not all women who dress, you know, sexy is like, but see, this is a different clad right here. Promotion. It's all for promotion. Fake everything. Like, to get a bag and be in the back of the Rolls Royce, and yeah, she's a hoe. The industry hood rats, man. This is a thoughts you used to pass. Y'all know back in the old days, those thoughts you used to pass around. Back then, you used to give to your homies for free. Like, for real, you used to run. Y'all remember y'all used to run trains on little thoughts? Back in the day, they do that back in the industry. In the industry now. Like, they ran a train on Azrael. She got a train ran on her. They pass her around. Pimp C, Bun B, all them dudes. They ran a train on her. But Usher. Come on, don't think Usher didn't had her when he was a youngster. I mean, come on, man. Biggie Small, all them. Ooh, wee. Oh man, y'all think these little thoughts just be nah. All of them be smashing the same dudes. For real. I mean, look at it. Like, she's sexual. She's a sexual creature. She's the one that initiate. Like, is she a victim? Did he make her this way, or she was already this way? Most chicks be already this way, no matter what age they be. They be hoes at young ass ages. They be freaking hoes. That's what R. Kelly got trapped in. He got trapped in hoes because he like hoes because they easy. So he got trapped with certain chicks like that. Like, seriously. Look, he love him like that. Oh, she was trapped in a closet. Oh, I had to put on lingerie just to show our color, just to do this, all this. I had to put on lingerie. And she doing this on her own free will. You can tell this whole line. See, come on, man. She putting her body on display. So she had to, so you mean to tell me R. Kelly already chose the ones who was already putting their bodies on display. And they used that against him. These hoes was already using their bodies for display. They was already hoes. They was already smashing everybody. Already in the industry. Azrael got as many bodies as Superhead. And you think that's a lie? Azrael has got as many bodies as Superhead. She got so many, as many bodies as what you call that slut that's on Instagram is famous. I forgot her name. Like Azrael been a hoe. She been a hoe since she was she been a hoe since she was 15 years old. She was smashing. She probably was smashing the goddamn high school teacher willingly. I don't know. I'm against that. This chick probably was, having sex when she was 14, 13 years old. Probably was a freak at 12 years old. Nobody know her dang on history. But after this case, she ain't got her teeth did. She ain't got everything did. Head on, everything did. And that was part of one of the hoes that he did, But I appreciate y'all for joining me tonight. I had to have some fun. I had to expose Azrael a little bit. Y'all hit that like button. Y'all hit that share button. Y'all hit those notifications. And most of y'all subscribe. I'm going to continue the part of the video from Monday. Right? I'm going to continue that audio tomorrow. It's going to be same time this time, but I'm going to continue that audio tomorrow. I appreciate everybody for joining tonight's. We at hour 43. Oh, damn. We like 43 minutes over. But if you like tonight's broadcast, hit that mad pill right there. Right there. We out. The only queen. Thank you. I'm seeing a few shots out before I get up out of here. Angela Smith. Miss Denise. Thank y'all for joining. Hit that live in YouTube. Hit the like button. Appreciate y'all. On the playback, we out of here. Hey, tomorrow I'm playing the rest of the video. I didn't get a chance to play the whole video on purpose because I want y'all to tune in tomorrow. So tomorrow we're gonna play the rest of the court case and we're gonna break that ish down. Peace.